All right. All right, everyone. Welcome back to the Tutor Talks podcast. Rudy's here. Rudy Munoz is here.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about the NBA playoff basketball and the NBA bubble. We haven't done a video in a while, and I know we're late on this video, but I want to talk about kind of the race to the 8th seed and the final games down the stretch before the playoffs. So, as we all know now, Portland made the playoffs over the Grizzlies and the Suns. First of all, when we recorded our last video, the Suns weren't even in the conversation. I don't even think we mentioned the Suns.
Yeah, well, when my initial hypothesis, or what's another word for guess? Whatever. My original guess was that it was gonna be Blazers San Antonio at the end. I didn't see Devin Booker or Bubble Booker coming out. That was intense.
It was never a question about Booker. Like at the end of the day, it was Aiden showed up in the playoffs. Bridges showed up in the playoffs. All these guys, Rubio. Rubio was good, but Devin Booker averaging 35 and 5 and 5 or whatever he averaged. Like I could have seen that coming. He was great. Don't get me wrong, but it was everything else. That's like when people have these conversations about Devin Booker and Donovan Mitchell. It's like people they're on the even though I think Donovan Mitchell's better, they're basically on the same level, except one is on a way better team. And finally, we see Devin Booker get the help he needs, and he won 8 games in a row. So that's
I think that was a surprise. It wasn't. I'm not gonna say it's surprising because I thought they were gonna be a pretty decent team. I didn't see them, I thought they would be better than the Grizzlies from the start. Then Aiden got the suspension, I think. I don't know. They got hit with a lot of things also.
Well, neither of us. We both, we made playoff rankings at the beginning of the season. Me and you, we wrote them down on paper. Grizzlies were in the West on all of our things. So we do owe some sort of apologies to the Grizzlies. I don't know. We have to give them props.
Well, I didn't see
in the bubble,
or Trae Young and John Morant.
In the bubble, when I saw once Jaren Jackson Jr. tore his ACL, I knew the Grizzlies were out of it. I just knew it. And they stayed competitive until the end. In that elimination game, they fought to the wire.
That was a great game. And that that's a lot of people were knocking the Grizzlies. The Trailblazers for that. They were saying, if they had this much trouble with the Grizzlies, there's no way they're going to put up a fight against the Lakers. But that was just a hard-fought game.
I thought that too. I was happy as a Lakers fan. Yeah. And you know what? We're going to get into the series later. I do have some thoughts on it. I don't think it's we'll talk about it. But the Pelicans disappointed me a lot. There was no effort.
Yeah, there was effort in the first 2 games. After the third or fourth, it kind of just fell off.
Well, it was first of all, Zion was out of shape.
That's weird because he looked ripped when going in. He looked like he was gonna destroy everybody.
It's these camera angles, man.
It was the angles. It was the
angles, dude. It got us. It happens every year. Remember that photo of Lonzo where he looked jacked? It's always the camera angles. It happens every time. We always fall for it. But the stupid Lonzo photo is now in my head. No, you know what? They came out of that literally off the rip, just firing on all cylinders against the Jazz. Brandon Ingram looked awesome. JJ Redick looked great.
They looked really good in that game.
They looked good, and Lonzo looked average. He didn't look as good, but he didn't look as bad as he did the rest of the bubble. Lonzo looked.
He lost his shot. He lost his shot. He
lost his shot. He was shooting well in the regular season, and he could not shoot well, and he could not finish. He couldn't finish at the rim, and that's a problem for someone that's 6'7". It just is.
And the thing was that they were playing really well. They played really well in that first game against the Jazz. That was an exciting game for me because I'm big on Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball, Drew Holiday. I'm big on all of them.
That's why you're disappointed.
When they lost that game, when they lost that game, I was like, man, they had it, and I just thought that they were going to carry that forward and just start destroying everybody else, but they just couldn't.
You know what, Brandon Ingram? I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna be a New Orleans Pelican next year, cause
Well, they were saying that Lonzo Ball's gonna be
they're
on the
saying that
trading
lots of
market
balls on
too.
the trading block, and the Lakers could trade back for him. They could trade Avery Bradley and a first round pick for Lonzo.
I
And
just don't get why they would put Lonzo Ball on the trading block if he was working really well with Zion. I don't
I,
get that
I
one.
I don't either, but maybe you know what? It's just they're trying to get rid of kind of everything. They fired Alvin Gentry. They're trying to
Which
change.
I think was dumb also.
You know what? There were some moments down the stretch where his rotations cost them a lot of games.
I get it, but at the same time, it's
But
not it's a learning
it's a
team, you know.
development team. That's the one thing I.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I just feel like he wasted Anthony Davis. I mean, he got them the farthest they ever got with him, but
Yeah, what do you mean he wasted Anthony
I
Davis?
don't
He
know.
made
I
that whole
just
system work with DeMarcus Cousins.
no. And when DeMarcus Cousins went down, that was when their best team with playoff Rondo and Drew Holiday. That was and Drew Holiday. I kind of wish the Lakers had somehow gotten Drew Holiday because this Portland series would be over if the Lakers had Drew Holiday.
Oh,
But
definitely. If we had a point guard that could play defense or
well,
a
right
guard that
now
could play,
we'll talk. We got to table
yeah,
this.
yeah,
And me
yeah,
and you
we'll hold that
disagree
off.
with some stuff on this series, but uh,
I
and
don't know.
those
And then
last
another player I really liked in the bubble.
Karis
You
LeVert.
don't. I feel like no. Ever since DeMar DeRozan was traded, like he's kind of fell off the map as far as his
Yeah,
coverage. But I mean, for a guy that I understand why he's not valued right now in this league because he can't shoot a three. Like he can shoot a three, but he's just not a 3-point shooter.
he's an
He's
analytics
solid though, man.
nightmare. He's an analytics nightmare. That's the
Yeah,
reason.
I guess, but he has that mid range and
You know
I don't
what?
know. I
I
think
think
San
I
Antonio
just
is great
think
for him.
I just think he's become I think he was overrated in Toronto, and I think he's become underrated in San Antonio. That's my analysis of it. Because I remember when the Kawhi trade first happened, I was talking to some people that I knew, and they were like, "Why would you trade away DeRozan for a guy that might not even stay?" And it's like, because this guy's Kawhi Leonard, and people are like, "DeMar DeRozan is the same type of scorer," and it's like, "Whoa, no, he's not. I mean, he could average 27, but he's not a Kawhi Leonard scorer as much as you want to see it that way." And he's become
I mean, I wouldn't look at it like that. Kawhi
I
Leonard just
wouldn't,
doesn't
but like
have a
I didn't
3-point
look at it
shot.
like that. But I'm just saying nationally, like sometimes people overrate him
Yeah,
for. And then once he got into San Antonio, like they made the playoffs his first year there. This year, I mean, they didn't even have Marcus Aldridge this year, and they were still playing really well in the bubble. Um,
yeah. I won't say he's overrated. I'm just gonna say he was playing in the East, and there wasn't many more guards,
he was
to compare
also
him with.
playing East. You know what? I think Kyle Lowry was underrated. I think Kyle Lowry deserves some
Yeah,
recognition as the best
yeah.
player on the team. Everyone
Yeah,
unanimously.
because a lot of people made it seem like
It was
DeMar DeRozan
DeRozan's
was
team.
carrying him that
It was
whole
like
time.
it was not, and
Yeah,
not
I think
especially
it was both their
now,
teams really evenly.
you know about it. So that whole thing was really exciting. That last Brooklyn game where Dame, I don't remember how many put it. Did he put up 60?
Yeah, 50 something, right? Or 60? Was it 60?
I thought it was 60. I can't remember. He
It
had
was
60.
60.
He
It
had,
was 60.
and Karis LeVert went toe to toe with him. I was really impressed with the Nets. First of all, there was no reason for them to play that game. And they played. They went toe to toe. They literally almost eliminated a team from the playoffs, and they had nothing to gain from it.
Yep.
Like it was crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a team that's playing for their playoff hopes, and you almost eliminated them because you had nothing to play for. It was 134 to 133. Oh no, you know what? He had 42 points that game. He had
I think it was a game before we had
the
the
game
like 60
before
or
against
50.
Dallas. He had 61. The game before against Dallas. He
Oh,
had
okay.
And I remember in that game, he had a crazy shot that went off the front rim. It was crazy. The whole run was crazy.
He's averaged one logo shot a game, I think, his whole time in the bubble.
Probably. I mean, he didn't hit one. He hasn't hit one in the last couple games against the Lakers.
I know he only hit one game one, right?
Yeah, he only hit one in game one. And game one, you know what? It was a winnable game for the Lakers, and we'll get into that. As soon as Devin Booker got eliminated, and the last game didn't matter. The last game, like day of games, I didn't even watch.
The Grizzlies toughed out their last game also because they had to win that game in order to make it also.
Yeah, and you know what? They showed up and they beat the Bucks, and then they did the playing game, and the playing game was good. Dame had I can't remember how many points Dame had. I'll pull it up right now. Dame had. Oh, I can't find it, but because on my game logs it doesn't show up because it's like a weird in between game. I guess I don't know. I don't know what's the problem with it.
It was
Okay, he had
It was
31.
126, 122.
Yeah, he had
Yeah.
31. I found it. Nurkic has been an incredible boost for them. All right. I think we should talk about the playoffs now. I also just right before we move off this topic, off the eighth seed topic. I was just so incredibly disappointed with New Orleans. I mean, it hurts. It hurts like
Yeah.
a Lakers fan. Like those are my boys, and they left, especially Lonzo. I know he's gonna be back, and I know it was a shot, but it still hurts. I don't care. It didn't feel good. Being a Lonzo fan is an up and down ride. It's like a roller coaster. You're gonna go up and down.
Yeah, I mean, they just didn't show up in the bubble. That's all it was.
All right. You want to talk about any other things in the bubble? Dame was the MVP. We thought maybe it could have been what's his name, Devin Booker. I think you
I just think
go
Booker
8-0,
had.
you're the best player. I think you have to be the bubble MVP.
Yeah, it's not like it was a. I mean, it was a full team effort, but you know that it was Devin Booker.
Yeah, well, Devin Booker was the guy that made the magic happen. Even though I do think that
Yeah.
the whole team was the reason
No,
why
of course, the whole team was definitely
the whole
involved,
team was
but
definitely better.
I
But
just think he should have
he was good. I mean, I don't know.
MVP.
Like at the end of the day, those last couple games kind of gave it to Dame with that 61 and that. So you know what? Like he kind of earned it in those last two games. It's close.
That's
People
true.
were
And
nominating.
the playing game, I guess.
People were nominating T.J. Warren for it. He had a couple of off games. He had some really good games, but he had a couple of off games. I don't think he deserved it. I mean, he lost to Devin
He just
Booker.
had a
He definitely didn't deserve it over
3-game
Devin
stretch.
Booker because Devin Booker literally beat him. So
Yeah.
you can't say.
No, he had a 3-game stretch. That's all he had.
Well, he
How much more
he
do
had
you
one
have?
against the Lakers too. He had like 39, and Jimmy Butler
Yeah.
has clamped him up. So I think that's
They
gonna
were
be
calling him MJ Warren. Did you see that? They were calling him MJ Warren.
MJ Warren. So that's gonna be our transition into the playoffs. T.J. Warren got clamped up by Jimmy Butler in the last regular season bubble game, or in one of the last ones, and he's been clamped up by him.
And throughout this entire series.
And you know what though? I like you watching it. You feel like he's being clamped up, but he's efficient. He's just not getting touches. It's partially a Victor Oladipo thing. Maybe Victor Oladipo should have stayed out. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is. First of all, I
I just think it was a bad matchup for them
and they need
because he
Sabonis.
pissed off Jimmy Butler.
And they need Sabonis. They need Sabonis.
Yeah, no, of course. They're playing depleted.
They're playing depleted. And even though, they got Victor Oladipo back, they lost Sabonis, who was their best player all season. I know Malcolm Brogdon was good, and I don't want to disrespect him, but Sabonis was their best player all season.
No, Sabonis was carrying that team, even though it should be Miles Turner.
I mean, he wasn't carrying
Sabonis.
that team. I wouldn't say he was carrying that team because they had multiple contributers. T.J. Warren.
Yeah, but he was the only one that remained solid.
I think he was the anchor. Is how I would state it.
Yeah, easily.
That series I think is one.
That was just it was just a bad series. He pissed off Jimmy Butler, and you don't piss off Jimmy Butler and get away with it, honestly.
And Jimmy Butler's right. That guy's not in his league. I mean, everyone was like, "Oh my God, Jimmy Butler's gonna regret it."
Of course not.
No, he's not.
No, and then you have the 1-8 matchup in the East with the Bucks and the Magic, which for some reason
I want to say
people
one
were
more
worried after that
thing
first
about
game.
Miami. I want to say one more thing about Miami. I still think it's a bad matchup for the Bucks, and I think the Bucks will win. Their shooting is awesome with Tucker Robinson,
I don't know.
Tyler Herro. Literally, Milwaukee's defense sucks against three-point shooting teams. And I know that last game in the bubble they lost to Milwaukee, but they didn't have Jimmy Butler, their best player. So
No. I'm saying I'm not 100% the Bucks are gonna win that one because Chris Middleton's only had one good game.
Chris Middleton and Pendejo George.
No, wait, we're talking about Bucks.
I know. I'm sorry.
But no, like people were overreacting about that first game the Bucks had. But
they were. I remember. I tweeted after the game too, like, "Oh, the Bucks are the better team than the Magic." I would have never seen that coming. Yeah,
It's just
no,
honestly
but
they haven't been playing good this whole bubble though, to be quite honest.
yeah, but also the Lakers and the Clippers weren't playing that great in the whole bubble, and they've looked better in the playoffs. They just, except for, we're getting away.
One player,
One,
two players, because Chris Middleton.
okay, two players. We'll bunch Chris Middleton in with this other guy that. Okay, and
Yeah. Um.
and so that Bucks. I still think that series is not really interesting. I mean, they kind of jumped on them, but like Giannis.
It's
I mean, they
not.
beat him by 20 in the second game, and Giannis only played 30 minutes. Um, it just doesn't
It's the
matter.
same thing that happened last
The
year with
Bucks
the
still have good
Raptors.
shooting. I mean, even though Chris Middleton isn't playing great, he's just getting 17 points. I mean, they're still. I'm worried about the team that swept the Nets 4-0, and that's the Toronto Raptors. The Toronto Raptors look scary. Dude, the Toronto Raptors
Oh
look
yeah, for sure.
it's okay. First of all,
They're doing it effortlessly.
I am rooting for any other team to make it out of the East besides Toronto because the Lakers have had the most trouble with Toronto. I mean, out of everyone in the East, they have struggled with Toronto.
I just Toronto just has a
They
they have that underdog. They're underdogs
they're
right now. They really are
underdog and
underdogs, even though they're
grit,
champions.
and they're defending champions, and it's like they should not be underdogs, but they are. Because I mean,
They
and
really
you know
are.
what?
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, normal teams though don't lose 28-point scores or whatever and just magically regain it. The one thing though I do hear about a lot about the last year's final run is that they could have done it without Kawhi. They could not have done it without Kawhi. First of all, they've learned a lot of this stuff
No.
from Kawhi. But also, there's just one game in particular where they could not have done it without Kawhi, and that's that Game 7 against Philly. Everyone was
True.
terrible in that game except for Kawhi and Serge. And I think I've talked about it on here before, but that game is comparable to me to like that Game 6 in Chicago or in Utah, Michael Jordan's
Utah.
last game.
Yeah.
It's he just literally willed them, and I know he wasn't as efficient as we would like you'd want him to be, but he was willing that team, and they would have lost without
Yeah,
him.
it's a shot.
And,
He
and
had
no,
a shot
I'm,
moment.
I don't even care about the shot. Like I wasn't even. That's not even. I'm talking about that whole game. You watch Michael Jordan, you watch Kawhi. They're literally the whole game is running through them, and like Serge played great defensively, and he hit a couple threes, but offensively, Kawhi was doing all the work. And there were some shots where he just wasn't hitting him, but he was just willing them. And it was I've never seen Game 1 of the Cleveland game is the only other comparable game. Game 1 versus the Warriors, where LeBron had 53, 8 and 8, is the only other comparable game I can think of.
Yeah, the only thing that to cause worry this year is Lowry did go out today in the first quarter. And I know you said you didn't watch it, but
Yeah,
it didn't look as bad. You know, he got injured right before a timeout. They
you know
called a
what?
timeout.
I think they probably could have brought him back in, but they were just like blowing him out. And
Yeah, that's what I was reading. He's gonna have an MRI, but he
I
did
think
leave the
he'll be
game,
fine.
but he was cleared to come back.
I think
He
he'll
was
be
cleared to come back, so that's a good sign.
All right, we're gonna move on to this Boston Philly series.
I feel bad for Joel, man.
I feel bad for Joel. I think I have told people this. I have not told you this. This is my breaking prediction. I think Joel Embiid will be a Golden State Warrior next season.
He's done. His contract's up.
No, I think he's gonna get traded. I think they're gonna trade that number 2 pick and Andrew Wiggins. Maybe they'll have to throw in Dre. I don't really know what that would do good for Philly if they had Dre, but I think Philly's gonna try and build around Ben Simmons. And they're okay. We can agree on one thing: they're gonna fire Brett Brown. The Sixers are firing Brett Brown.
They need to. They should have done that 3 years ago. Honestly,
not 3 years ago. I'm not willing to say 3 years ago, but they should have done it last year. Last year when they lost.
I'm sorry. He's never been able to make Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid work.
He's never exactly, and it shouldn't be this
together.
hard. I understand their games don't fit together, but it should not be this hard. Like LeBron and AD even have things that they like kind of like collide on, and they still make it work. Like it should not be this hard. Two generational talents should be able to mesh a little better. And I'm sorry, I don't believe in Brett Brown anymore.
And the thing is, they're willing to. Like it's not even like they hate each other.
The one thing,
willing to work together.
The one thing though, I do, and you know what? Maybe if they fire Brett Brown, Joel is like, I'll stay. But I think if Joel might be like unhappy, and that I think Golden State can put together a package for Joel Embiid, and that would be an exciting ass team to watch. That would
I mean that's a trade that
Joel Embiid
kind of makes sense.
and it makes sense for both. I think, and they're gonna be contenders next year. I don't know. This is my only.
I
It's not like
mean,
it's just speculation off of what I think is gonna happen. And look, if they fire Brett Brown and they bring Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid and they sit them down and are like, look, are you guys willing to work together under a new coach? They'll be like, if they're sure, then they won't trade him. But I think it could happen.
depends on depends on that coach. You know what's a good coach? Mark Jackson. I just think he should have a job.
You know what? I just want Mark Jackson on TV sometimes. I just
I get, but I want him as a coach.
he won't.
And I think
No, you know what?
he deserves to be a coach.
He won't get you a championship, but he'll get you ready for a coach that will get you a championship.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
No,
But yeah, I mean that series was
I think
pretty straightforward. I mean, Al
no,
Horford was a really bad signing.
I think Kenny Atkinson is the coach you can get. I really like Kenny Atkinson.
Yeah, that's a
Or
good
the
fit,
guy,
actually.
if the Nets decide not to sign this guy they have as interim coach, maybe go get that guy because that guy looks awesome too.
No, you need somebody established.
Yeah, but then I mean Kenny Atkinson,
I think that should be the Kings' next coach.
the Kings next coach. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know any other coaches that really. People were talking about Becky
Gentry's
Hammond.
going to be
People were
available.
talking about Becky Hammond for the job. I mean, people trust her.
Yeah, I wouldn't put her in that situation though.
I don't think. I think she should be in a more calm situation for her first job, especially because
Not calm situation. I think she should just be with a
in a more
superstar that
well, I just
like a
also
superstar.
I don't want to see her be hired and then be hired to this like kind of toxic situation, and then if it doesn't work out right, he's gonna get blamed for it, and it's gonna be like first woman coach sucks. And it's like no, the situation was not good. Like let's be honest.
Yeah. No, I just think she needs a player
All right.
that you have a leader buy into the system and then everybody else
Yeah.
follows. Yeah.
What about Boston? How do you feel about Boston?
I think they played good. I just think they took a big blow losing Gordon Hayward. I think he was actually coming in and helping them out.
I do think he was good, and I still think that Boston-Toronto series is going to be fantastic regardless. Because I think they've gone straight.
That's going to be fantastic.
I think they've gone straight.
I just think that I just think that Toronto has the wings to match up with them, not match up perfectly, but they have wings that can guard their wings.
I think that Toronto has gone so long Boston has played without Gordon Hayward for stretches that they're used to it and they can do it.
True.
I do think Toronto's my
I just think that Toronto's stronger there because of their bigs.
And I'm totally switching on what I said in our first video where I was hyping up Boston. And I still think Boston's really good. I still think Jason Tatum's really good. He's fun and exciting to watch. He's probably the second guy that's 21 or under, the second best guy probably, I think, in the league. We're going to talk about the other guy at the end. But, I mean, he's exciting and it's just fun to watch. I do think, though, Toronto's defensive versatility is insane. I think I think their shooting is good. They're good defensive team, good offensive team, and they're the best coach team in the league. I think Nick Nurse is the best coach. I love Frank.
He's been doing really good.
Frank Vogel has some problems. He has rotation problems, and I disagree with some of his rotations, but and Billy Donovan did a good job this year, but he's not as good as Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is something else.
Nick Nurse carried.
Nick Nurse is on top.
I don't know. That team's crazy. But the team is veteran heavy. That's the thing.
Yeah, and has a lot better.
Greg Popovich.
What? Nick Nurse and Greg Popovich honestly are literally on the same level. Like I'm
pretty decent, yeah.
And I think Steve Kerr is up there.
Right.
I think Steve Kerr is up there. I know you don't feel the same way about Steve Kerr. I think you think.
I don't think Steve Kerr's a bad coach. I just think he was handed in a perfect situation.
He was handed a perfect situation, but some people mess up those perfect situations, and he did, he did great. He did great.
Like D'Antoni. D'Antoni messed up a perfect situation.
No, D'Antoni did really good in that. You know what? They would have a ring, and I'm gonna say this: they would have a ring if Chris Paul did not get injured. It's
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when the Lakers had Dwight
oh
Howard and
yeah,
Steve
no,
Nash.
yeah,
That's a
they no,
beautiful
but
situation.
D'Antoni did mess up a few. I mean, Steve Nash wasn't what everyone expected, but D'Antoni still fucked it up. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah.
The next
No,
series
and
I want
then
to talk
okay, so
about
now
is the Nuggets versus the Jazz. I'm just kind of jumping around on these because I'm cherry
I
picking.
know I'm disappointed in this series. I really thought the Nuggets had that one.
And even though
Um,
it's 3-1 and it doesn't seem as close, it's still been a good series. This last
oh
most
no,
recent game, even
definitely.
though I missed most of it, I caught the end of it. Um, it's still competitive. Donovan Mitchell put up a 50 piece. I saw the highlights. Looked great. Looked competitive. Michael Porter
The
Jr.
only game that was a blowout was game two. That was the only one that was a blowout. And
What happened? No. Game three. Game two was the one that they lost close. No. Game two and three were blowouts. Game two and three were blowouts.
really?
Yeah.
You're right.
Remember
Game three
they
was a super
won
blowout.
game.
You're right.
They
You're right.
won game one. Game one. Donovan Mitchell dropped 57 points, but Jamal Murray closed it out, and I was like really impressed with Denver. But
Mm-hmm.
you know what? And the one thing though I have to say about Denver is they're just missing bodies. They're missing Gary Harris and they're missing Will Barton. I don't know if they're still missing them, but they're missing them at the start of the series, and they just need those guys back. Just defensively and just
Also, with Utah, their X factor, honestly, their X factor is Jordan Clarkson. He's been destroying them. Like
um.
he's
I mean, yeah,
he's their
he's
Lou
been
Williams
great.
basically.
He's been great, and I remember I said Jordan Clarkson's going to be the leading scorer. I was wrong. I didn't mean it like I knew Donovan Mitchell would be the leading scorer, but I said Jordan Clarkson would be the second best player. I
Yeah.
mean, he's done. He did 18, 26, 11, 24. He's not like destroying them because Donovan Mitchell is actually destroying them. Donovan Mitchell
No,
is
yeah, but I just mean off the bench, like he's their bucket. That's it,
Donovan
like
Mitchell as a
automatic.
guy in the third year in the league is as good as anyone. I mean, it's insane. If he was 6'6" or 6'7", he'd be the GOAT. He'd be Michael Jordan already. I mean, it's crazy.
No,
Um,
he wouldn't, chill.
yes, he would, bro.
No,
Dude,
he wouldn't.
he's so good. Imagine if he's six. What is he? 6'1", 6'2"? If he was 6'6",
Sorry. Are you saying he's better than Luka?
no, because he's not 6'6". Luka's 6'7".
So Luka's technically Michael Jordan then, according to you.
No, Luka's in between that. No, but Luka's really good, and we'll get into that later. Luka's the best 21-year-old.
No, Donovan Mitchell's good. He's great. I'm not gonna say he's good because he's great.
Because Luka isn't
I don't know.
Donovan Mitchell.
I haven't bought into Donovan Mitchell yet. I don't know why.
How have he dropped 250 pieces in the playoff
I
game?
get it.
And literally,
I don't see it in this game.
I said this. The Utah. I literally said this. Utah is a team everyone wants to play in the first round. I said that because they have no Bogdan. The team sucks together. And Donovan Mitchell and first of all, Mike Conley's been playing great. I did not see that coming because we were both high on him coming into the season, and then he sucked, and then we're both low on him, and then he's great. So
no, I wasn't ever low on him. I just said you got to give him
I was.
time.
He's looked great. But Donovan Mitchell has. I don't know how you haven't bought into Donovan Mitchell yet. He's had 250.
I don't know.
What do you mean you haven't bought it? He has 250.
I don't know. I know. I gotta watch.
I don't want to. You know what? We'll move on.
No, the thing is, he's been playing really well the past years. It's not.
And me and you both think that Rudy Gobert is overrated, right? We both think that.
I just think
Anthony
I
Davis
don't know how he has.
And that's it.
He's great, but he's great. He's a great help defender. He's an amazing help defender.
And also just people people just overrate him. Like I remember being on Twitter and there were some games where people were like, I don't know if you're watching the same Jazz I am because Rudy Gobert is definitely the Jazz's best player in Engine. And I'm like, well, shit, I must be watching the different team because this is not the team that everyone's been talking about.
No, he's just a great help defender. That's
all
I see him as.
I want to move on. Even though this series has been entertaining as hell, I think it is time. Have we covered everyone else besides two teams?
Rockets, Thunder.
Oh, Rockets, Thunder, yeah. So Rockets, Thunder, it should honestly be 3-0. There were so many mistakes down the end for Houston. There was that one play where I don't even know why Daniel House got the ball on that last play. I don't even know. I don't even know what the
We were
hell.
watching that game, and like we were like, he either makes these 2 free throws and he's gonna start the next game, or he loses them and he doesn't play anymore.
No, yeah,
And
but
he
I
missed
mean, he went
one.
1 for 1. So I mean, at least he sent it to overtime. But
Sure.
he just, and you know what? I tweeted, and
They
I know you're not gonna like this, and I know we're not supposed to talk about him yet. But when Shy hit that shot in the corner, you know what I'm talking about? The one where CP3 cut through the middle and he kicked it out to
yeah,
Shy.
yeah, yeah.
I tweeted Paul George would have bricked that. And
It's accurate. I
it,
can't even defend him right now
it's
as much as I
accurate.
want to.
Um, all right, and that series, I mean, look, Chris Paul's a fighter. The Thunder are fighters. Dennis Schroeder looked great, except for like a little weird fourth period where he looked like the guy from Atlanta, where he just kind of hogged the ball and he didn't look good, but he looked good in the majority of the game. Chris
He did,
Paul
yeah. He played
looked
pretty well.
Chris Paul looked great, but those first 2 games were dominated by Houston. And if the series gets like really serious, I think Westbrook will come back and just end it. I think
Yeah, I
Westbrook,
mean,
like that's the
but
whole
the
thing
only
about
thing
the
is
series.
I see
Like this series is only exciting because Westbrook's not part
James
of it.
Harden is tired though.
James
James
Harden is
Harden is
tired. He
tired.
is a little tired. And you know what? I like the one thing about this whole Houston experiment is that for it to work, they all have to play at like 180%. They all have to be going 1,000 miles per hour.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
do. They
that's the
literally
problem.
they out rebounded OKC in one of those games. Like how do you get out rebounded by PJ Tucker and the Rocket Nets? Like I don't get it. Like
Yeah, you know what? The thing I'm seeing with OKC, and it's frustrating because I have this issue with so many teams. They don't know how to use their bigs. Like you have Steven Adams.
yeah, but sometimes Steven Adams gets played off the floor. Sometimes he just
I
can't
get
guard.
it, but
It's the same thing
but
that
it's
happens with
like
Rudy Gobert. I mean,
feed him the
sometimes, yeah, they
ball.
misuse him, but sometimes he gets played off the floor. Sometimes you're just watching him and you're like, you need to take this guy out. I know you're not
No,
deep tonight.
it's just
But defensively,
nobody
sometimes he
plays.
can't do anything on defense. Sometimes he can't do anything on offense. Steven Adams sometimes looks like Hakeem Olajuwon. Sometimes he looks like Robert Sacre. I mean, you know, the guy is hit and miss.
Not sure. It's not Robert Soccer. It's not that bad. But I don't know. I just don't think teams know how to play like a big
All
boy
right,
ball,
but
whatever you call it, where they're like down low.
you still think Houston's gonna win the series? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I always thought it was gonna be a
Yeah.
5 game series.
Well, you know, people were picking OKC, OKC in 6, OKC in 7, like Houston 7 games, and I was like, what? Like, or- like you guys are so disrespectful to Houston. First of all, teams were trying to avoid Houston. The Lakers were trying to avoid Houston. The Clippers were trying to avoid Houston.
I
That
don't
just
know why.
I do because the thing is that even if Houston doesn't beat you, they're gonna take a lot out of you physically.
No, I see why the Lakers want to avoid them because the Lakers can't compete with them.
I see. Wait, if
If
Houston and
if if they're having this much trouble with CJ McCollum and Damian Lillard,
oh,
you don't think they're gonna have this much trouble with James Harden?
no, I think they'll be fine. I want to talk about this. I want to talk. We'll talk about it.
Okay.
Wait. So
Okay.
who do you think is going to win that series? If the Houston and the Lakers get in a 7-game series, who thinks going to win the series?
I think the Lakers will win, but I don't think it's
Okay,
gonna be
I'm
an easy
fine with
win,
you.
and it might go
Yeah.
7,
Okay. But
and it might go
I'm
7.
fine with it may go 7, but I think it'll go 5 or 6. But we'll talk about it. All right, let's talk about the Clippers now. I want to talk about the Clippers and Mavericks.
All right.
First of all, the series should be 3-1. If KP isn't ejected, it'd be 3-1. I don't care how you feel on that.
I agree because they don't have a secondary all-star right now.
They don't. And your favorite player is Paul George, and it's because of those Indiana years. It's not because of anything recently. It's because of those Indiana years, right? That Frank.
No,
Vogel-
also that OKC year where he was MVP.
Yeah,
You know?
but then he
MVP
fell
runner-up.
off the face of the earth in playoffs, and
Yeah, I mean,
it happens every
I
year,
don't
man.
know.
It happens every year.
It's happened every recent year, but it didn't happen before.
It didn't happen
Just saying.
before. Since the leg break. Since the leg break.
Yeah. No. Oh yeah. Since the leg break, he didn't come back for that
Break.
playoff series.
And he came back the next year and he got swept by LeBron in 4. So,
That's true. Damn.
yeah, it's been tough. It's been tough for Paul George. He looked great in that first game too. He looked pretty good in that first game, like for most of it. He was shooting pretty well.
He looked decent. He didn't look great.
You're right. Okay, he looked decent. we were talking about it. We said 5-game series for the Clippers. That was if Paul George played the way he was playing in like the normal bubble. But every year it happens. And you know what? You lie to yourself.
Aside from that, though,
they're having other
aside from
problems.
that, it's also the fact that
they don't know how to play with each other.
No, I just think they don't know how to play with each other. They don't. I mean, right now their guys have been stepping up, but there's no fluidity, and you just have Kawhi Leonard take over and do some heavy lifting, but I don't know.
Look,
I mean, even I feel like Lou Williams is also having trouble. I mean, he had a good game today, but hasn't had many like 15 plus
Lou
points
Williams did look amazing today, but in other future series, I think that Lou Williams would get played off the floor. Like just defensively, they're gonna go at him every time. And you know what? Dallas kind of did do it a little bit. I want to talk about that last play with Kawhi where Luka hit the game-winning shot. I've been on Twitter, and he's getting a lot of shit for that. Why didn't you go through that screen? Why didn't you pick him up? Why didn't you this? Why didn't you that? I'm no Kawhi apologist. I'm not. We know this. And I think me and you were arguing about his decision to go to the Clippers, and earlier we were arguing about all that. I'm no Kawhi defender. That was not his fault. If he had fought, first of all, Maxi Kleber has been setting really good screens all season.
Solid screens.
Screens. You watch that play, he's like solid type. So if he fights off the screen, either says, I'm doubling him, we're doubling him, or I'm going to take him, no one, do anything. And they don't switch, because they do switch a lot, and it's a problem. They switch sometimes when they don't need to switch. On that play, if he had either decided to fight through the screen, Cleveland would have been wide open for a wide open dump layup, or it would have taken too long and Luka would have gotten a wide open three. And neither are good. So instead, he decides to let Reggie Jackson switch. And that play, you know what? As much as I don't like Kawhi Leonard, or I like watching Kawhi Leonard. I have to admit it. He is the closest thing to. He's like a Kobe, Scottie Pippen mix. I like watching it.
I just think though that it's due to the fact that Reggie Jackson was getting that. I mean, Luka was getting that switch with Reggie Jackson fourth quarter.
The one thing I gotta say is, as much as I say Pat Bev is not an excuse to lose that game, that would not have happened to Pat Bev. That would not have happened to Pat Bev.
No.
That would not have happened. Pat Bev might have fouled him, but Pat Bev would not have let him get that shot off so easily. And that's
I mean, and that's the thing. That's why Luka had been getting that switch the whole game.
I still don't think losing Pat Bev is an excuse for the Clippers to lose a playoff series. But I also think that is part of the reason why they're struggling.
I mean, he's I think that first game he irritated Luka a lot.
He did. He did a little bit, yeah. I mean, look, Luka still got his, but he's still a top 10 player in the NBA. I think he's the 8th best player in the NBA in my list. I think he's better than Dame. And Dame, don't torch my Lakers because I said that.
Wait, right now top 5? You don't think it's top 5 right now?
Well, I
taking into account Kevin Durant, huh?
I include KD and Steph in my top 5.
You don't think he's better than Steph?
I don't think he's better than Steph. Come on, no. You know what? Stop. You disrespect Steph so much, and it gets on my. You know what? It gets on my nerves, Rudy. But we'll get into this.
I don't know, man. He got. How many did he score today?
First of all, you're forgetting. You're not watching
LeBron?
Steph. Steph could shoot. Steph Steph has had 50-point games. Steph could do whatever. Steph
in the playoffs though. Has Steph had a 50-point game in the playoffs?
I don't know what his highest is, but it's still pretty good. I mean, he still had 30 points in that game without Klay Thompson in the last Raptors game. Stop it, Rudy. He's top 5. I don't want to hear it. He's the best point guard in the league. I don't want to hear it. I don't. I think he could be better than.
Not the best point guard in the league.
You don't think he's the best point guard in the league?
Is LeBron James a point guard?
No, small forward.
Other times you put him as point guard. Come on, you can't change it up.
No, he's small forward. I mean, he's playing point guard, but when I rank him in my position ranking, it's LeBron is the best small forward.
Okay.
So that's the best point guard. I
That's a
mean,
discussion for another day. That's a discussion for another day. But Luka is just amazing. I mean,
Luca is
he's
amazing.
carrying the Mavs. He carried the Mavs today.
I mean,
Honestly,
I wouldn't say he carried because the points were, but you know what? Those shooters would not have gotten those buckets with a lesser passer. I mean, like LeBron is the only
no. I mean,
guy. I think LeBron is the only guy in this bubble that could have made the same plays that Luka was making today, and even some of them he couldn't make. Some of the scoring plays LeBron couldn't make, and Chris Paul might have been
look.
it.
I think if one of these two things happens, the series is over, and it's either Paul George finds his rhythm and starts scoring, or the Clippers figure out their chemistry problems right now, or not their
Okay.
chemistry problems. They're just their playing problems. Like they can't
Yeah,
play
you
together.
know what? They do have problems. I just wanted to ask you: have you seen all the nicknames for Paul George on Twitter?
Pandemic P. That's the
Pandemic
only one I've
P,
seen.
George Paul. No, but someone's calling him Pendejo P.
Look. All I'm gonna say, you know how you said he came back and got swept by LeBron James?
No, but Pendejo P.
Wait,
Pendejo
time
P.
out. So you know he said he got swept by LeBron James, right?
What?
That year he got swept by LeBron James coming back after he broke his leg.
Yeah,
He scored 28 points a game in the playoffs
but what did he
on
shoot?
39%.
That's not good enough. That's not gonna get it done. Um. All right. Look, I still think Kawhi is looking like, in my opinion, he's still the second best player in the league. I think it's LeBron, Kawhi. I guess if healthy players, LeBron, Kawhi, Giannis are the three best players in the league. Um, Kawhi just like even he was making plays in that fourth quarter. He struggled shooting in the first half, and you know what, you have to give him all the shit for that. But down the
You know
stretch,
what the crazy part?
he
The
was
crazy
making
part
plays.
was that I was texting my boss and he told me Luka's making these guys look like they're overrated.
There were some times where I was like he's
But you know
but
what? I'm not gonna
no,
say
but
is that they're
that was
overrated. I'm
like
gonna say
that was the duration of the game. But like in the fourth quarter, Kawhi reminded you who he was.
no, no. He's no. But I'm saying that, like this whole series, because Luka's been giving it to anybody that's guarding him. It doesn't matter
Yeah,
who,
I mean
including
Kawhi. I still
Kawhi.
think. Well, uh he's giving Kawhi like a little bit, but is still there.
No. But I'm saying Kawhi's a clamper, and
Yeah, no,
I'm not
but you know
saying he's
what
not
though?
clamping Luka,
Kawhi
but
needs
you
to
can't
take
clamp
the
Luka.
assignment because he's been getting switched off him a lot. But there's plays where he's just not guarding. Like he needs to guard him the whole game.
Yeah,
Because the thing is,
but
Luka
what I'm
doesn't
saying
need
is
you.
what
There's a thing where Doc Rivers is
all
like
I'm
saving
saying
him for the
though.
fourth quarter. There's a thing where like Doc
No,
Rivers is
but
saving him to guard him for the fourth quarter. But the thing is, Luka wins the game throughout the whole game. He just kind of dominates the game. Um.
yeah, but I just
So
think it's Luka needs to be rated a lot higher than people think he is because he's not. It's not that everybody else is overrated. He's just at their level. That's where he's at.
I
He's
think
at
he's,
their
in
level.
my opinion, he's in the James Harden, Anthony Davis uh tier. I think that's where he is, right there. That's where I have him right now.
If he carries his team past the first round, he's beyond Anthony Davis because Anthony Davis never did that.
Yes, he did. 2018. Come on, they swept Portland.
Not alone. Not
I mean,
alone.
Drew Holiday clamped, and he had some good stretches down the moments. But look, I mean, Seth Curry showing up. Like there are other players showing up. He's not like completely carrying him. It's not a complete carry job. He's not. I'm
I
not gonna
just
move him.
yeah.
I'm not gonna move him past Anthony Davis. First of all, you underrate Anthony
No,
Davis so much.
obviously not yet. Not yet. No, obviously not. Like
And even I
he's
still think
not past
even if
Anthony
he
Davis.
beats,
I'm just
I still
saying
think if he
he's up
beats
there.
Kawhi Leonard, I still don't put him above him. Last series we're
No,
gonna
obviously not like right off the bat. No, not off the bat. Of course.
okay. I still want to talk about this one last series. Well, okay. So what's your pick for this Clippers series? Like, I just want to pick. Like, even though you're
I
not
just still think the Clippers.
I still think the Clippers too. I
2-2.
think Kawhi Leonard. I think especially if the Clippers lose the next game, Kawhi Leonard will just dominate the ball and just be like, look,
Yeah.
I'm not letting you guys shoot. I'm shooting. It's gonna be good. But I still think Kawhi Leonard's the second best player on earth, and he showed you in the fourth quarter who he was. He was getting buckets, and he made plays. He made that pass to Marcus.
Also the last game.
Yeah, no, in the last game he
That was
showed
a great pass.
that was a great pass. Like I remember seeing it, I was like, oh wow. And there was a couple plays, and there was one shot that he missed where he should have made it, where he does that move he always does, and you can't block it because it's like a weird release, and it throws everyone off. He goes up for it, and he goes in, and he just missed out the front of the rim the whole game. I think they would have won the game if he had hit the shot, but I can't really blame him because he played pretty well. All right.
I mean, it was just a great shot by Luka.
My pick in the shot was great, and I had Edson, my cousin. He called me, and because he had literally had to leave for work, so he couldn't watch the end of the game, and he was like, "Tell me what happens. Like, keep me on the phone." And he didn't even hear the Mike Green bank shot because me, my friend Buckley, and my dad were all like screaming like crazy. My dad was really mad when Reggie Jackson gave him the shot because my dad is rooting for the Clippers, and I'm kind of rooting for the Clippers just because I want to see the Battle of LA.
Yeah, no, it's crazy. But now, I mean, this Lakers Blazers series is also just as. I don't think it's as difficult for the Lakers. I think they figured it out.
I think they
figured it out.
They figured it out. But look, the one thing is I think you're overrating how well C.J. McCollum and Damian Lillard have been playing. You're acting like they can't contain them at all. First of all, the Blazers have not been held under 100 points, like barely at all in the bubble. Like it's since January, the first time since January. The Lakers held them to 88 points in Game 2, and they blew them out. LeBron didn't even need to do anything. In Game 2, they struggled a little more, but they still won by 8 points behind Anthony Davis and LeBron. And look, AD got big on them in the second half, and that was the real difference maker. I mean, LeBron was great in the first half, but AD getting big really helped him. And Anthony Davis played 40 minutes to LeBron's 34, which was like weird. That usually never happens. Usually LeBron gets more minutes. Frank Vogel took a gamble resting LeBron in those clutch minutes when he really shouldn't have, and it worked out, but I don't know if it's going to work out as often as it would. Look, C.J. McCollum in Game 2, he shot 4 for 12 from 3, which isn't the most efficient, and he shot 12 for 25. They're going to get their points, but I still think they're more of an efficient scoring duo than people give them credit for. And look, Dame was held to 18 points in Game 2. I don't think they're really struggling that much with Dame as much as you make it seem to.
No, but I've always felt it was going to be a one-game win for the Blazers, 3 games for the Lakers, and that game 6 is going to be a toss-up because, that's an elimination game, and that's when Dame comes out.
Oh.
No, Game 6.
Oh, so you think it could go 7?
Oh, no, sorry. I meant Game 5, yeah. So Game 5 is going to be where Dame, puts it all on the line, gets that win, and then the Lakers clean it up in Game 6. I've always thought this.
That's what I think too, but I wouldn't be absolutely shocked if the Blazers somehow stole Game 4, just because
I wouldn't.
They don't give up.
They can play. They're playing really great.
If you ask me who to pick, I would pick the Lakers because look, Nurk and Whiteside look exhausted at the end, and Whiteside sucks. He's so lazy and he gets a lot of blocks, but he hurts them eventually. I think they're going to come out with the 3-guard lineup next game. I think they're going to play Gary Trent. They're going to play Dame, and they're going to play CJ. And it's going to be different, and the Lakers are going to have to adjust. KCP has been great on Dame in these last couple of games, and so has Alex Caruso. But especially, I've been really good, like pleasantly surprised with KCP's defense on him. And
I don't know. I think I don't know why this just came into my head right now, but I think the Blazers could do what you said, do a 3-guard lineup, bring Melo off the bench.
Yeah. No, I don't think Melo's going to come off the bench. I think he's going to play power forward.
No, I don't think they. I think they like what they're doing with their bigs right now because it's not.
It didn't work.
I think that works for them.
As soon as they saw it didn't work, I think they're gonna. Terry Stotts is the guy that doesn't. He sees it. He doesn't like it. He changes it.
It worked in Game 1. That's what I'm saying.
I don't think Melo comes off the bench. There's just no way. There's no way that he's playing this one. They're gonna bench him. Like Can we talk about?
No, not bench him, but I don't know.
Can we talk about?
I think they're gonna try to stagger all 3 of them.
Can we talk about the LeBron down the stretch? Can we talk about the LeBron Melo down the stretch?
No, that's just. I mean, Melo was lighting it up in that third corner.
Yeah, he was. It was vintage Melo. But
he was getting that mid range.
That mid range is sometimes it's just a little inefficient, but he was hitting it and he was hitting it good. He's been not that good from 3 this series, but he was good all season, so I'm not gonna slander him for it. He looked like he was taking it to LeBron, and he's the only guy. The great thing about having Melo is he's not scared of LeBron. Like Gary Trent,
Yeah.
you can kind of see there's a thing where it's like, whoa, it's LeBron. Carmelo is like even Dame to a sense. It's like he's kind of looking up to LeBron. I mean, even though he's not scared of anybody,
Yeah.
I think he's mentality wise the closest thing we have to Kobe. In the modern game, just like with that, like he wants to
The mentality.
go out and kill it. Um, I think Melo is the only guy that's truly like, dude, I used to take it to this guy in high school. I took it to the guy in my first year in the NBA. I'm gonna take it again. Like it's not straight.
Yeah, I mean, it's honestly, this series honestly just about
But
figuring out what the Lakers have.
the only thing I'm
it.
worried about for the Lakers is their shooting. If their shooting doesn't improve, they might struggle against Houston. But KCP showed up. He shot well. They shot fine in games 2 and 3. I just hope they can keep it up. Anthony Davis should not be taking that many threes. I don't care.
No, he needs to play like a big.
He needs to play like a big. He can take threes when he's wide open. Like when they're like playing off him because he's dominating. That's when he should take the three.
Yeah.
Like he's hitting shots and he needs to. I didn't really get the point of him taking a lot of mid ranges. I get it now because it allows them to have to like play in between, and that's when he gets his easiest cut throughs to the rim. So I get the value in it, but he does sometimes he just gets a little too shoddy in that, and it's
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, I think the series is pretty straightforward. I don't really see a surprise. I'm not Chuck, and I'm not gonna say the Blazers are gonna come out and win. But
I'm not gonna say it either. I mean, I wouldn't say it, but yeah. I think my pick is Lakers in 6. I hope in 5. You know, if they really want to play well.
Yeah, 5 preferably. I think 6 also though.
I think you know what, that game 5 is always that desperation game. Like even when teams don't choke that 3-1 lead, that game 5 usually always goes to the team down 3-1.
Yeah.
The one thing that worries me is the only difference that would be is if it was in real life, it would be in Los Angeles. And they wouldn't lose it. There'd be no question they wouldn't lose it. And Staples Center would be rocking.
True.
But yeah, are you stressed watching those games? Because those games stress me out. The Laker games, because like
not
I don't
really.
know.
I mean, for me right now. I just
You're
basketball games. Every single one is just amazing.
Yeah, but for me, it's like the Laker games are different just because of how much of a. It's like the Dodger games. I get stressed out watching those. Like it's the only thing I get stressed out watching. Not Dodger regular season games. I don't get stressed watching the playoff games. I just get stressed. It's scary. It stresses me out.
I don't know.
I haven't had to deal
so much basketball right now.
I haven't had to deal with the playoff stress since 2013, and I was like fucking young. So it's
pretty weird.
Grade. I was in third, so it's my first time like really experiencing it.
It's good that we're able to watch every single
George and Kawhi, but I'm a Lakers fan, and I've been a Lakers fan. You're a Lakers fan. You're still a Lakers fan. Yeah. Are you rooting for them like to win the finals? You are, right?
I mean, I want them to win the whole thing. To me, there's just so many different teams I'm interested in. I like the Raptors. I like the Bucks. I like Carmelo and the Blazers.
I like them all. I like most of them. I don't like. I mean, I like Jason Tatum, but like the Lakers, I'm rooting for them against anyone, and I don't even Russell Westbrook.
I like the idea of all these players.
Yeah, even Russell Westbrook. Like I want Russell Westbrook to win his first ring so bad, but the Lakers.
He's not going to.
He's not. First of all, yeah, he's not going to. So is your finals pick still between the Clippers and the Lakers, or are you going to diversify that a little bit? Because that was our finals pick of the game.
I mean, I think there's just another team in the hunt.
I just think
you're going to have to add the Raptors to that. I think it's a 4-team race now.
Yeah, I think I do think it's a 4-team race. I think maybe Boston, but the thing is, I'm not scared of Boston. I think that Boston can challenge Toronto, but I'm not scared of Boston as a Lakers fan. It's weird. I am scared.
I'm not scared of Boston at all.
You know what? The one thing is just the reason I'm not as scared of the Bucks or the Clippers or these other teams. I've seen the Lakers beat the Clippers. I've seen the Lakers beat the Bucks. I've seen the Lakers beat the Celtics. They got swept by Toronto. So that's the only.
The only thing, if Boston makes it to the finals, it's gonna be a 2010 finals again, where you had that Orlando team that, just completely outmatched.
2009.
2009. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's just they're just gonna be completely outmatched. They don't have solid bigs.
Yeah. Well, first of all, Turkoglu is not the Boston's second best player, but other than that, you're right. All right. Well, I think that's the end of the video.
Yeah.
Leave a comment if you want anything different. We might do a draft day special. We talked about it. If there's interest in baseball, we could probably do a baseball episode. But right now, basketball's our
Forte.
for today and for the future. All right, guys. Thanks for listening, watching. If you've made it to the end, just leave something down below to let us know that you made it to the end. And yeah. Oh, and wait, Lakers info though. Like Lakers in 4 against anyone. I don't care. All right.
Lakers in 4 against anybody. All right.
All right. Well, that's in the video. All right. Peace.
All right.